Good morning, everyone. Today is day 13 of working with worthy words. And yes, this is the 21st of August. So, I've got a lot to share with you today. And so this video is not just about worthy words, although it's all ties in together. And I suppose the thing to do is to share with you what worthy word on my list is going to be talked about today, and that's the word thriving. And so I didn't do a video yesterday because I knew thriving was the next word on the list to be tackled with. And I really wanted to consider what I wanted to say about the word thriving, and it didn't come to me until this morning. But before I get into that, if you have been enjoying listening to my stories, if you've been enjoying learning about the words and why they're on the list, and seeing the transformation that reading the worthy words can do, hit the like button. If you want to see more of these, if you want to learn more about my story, because the more words I talk about, the more the story is going to come out. So if you want to hear more about this story, hit the subscribe button. Leave me a comment and let me know what in that particular video caught your attention. What left you something to think about in your own life, or why you enjoyed hearing it about me. So if you don't mind doing that, then you'll get to see more of these videos. The algorithms will let me know, that people are interested in this. But thriving is, it's on the list because it's something that I have attained periodically in my life, but it has not been consistent in my life. And I want it to be more consistent in my life, is to thrive rather than survive. So when I say that I have been surviving, I want to talk about some of the history here. And in case you haven't noticed, I'm not my normal smiley self. I almost didn't do my hair this morning. I'm like, I want you to see what depression is like, what surviving is like for those that don't experience it. But I did pull my hair back. I did wipe my face down. The sleepy skin was just still there. This is not an easy topic for me to discuss. So a lot of trauma has taken place in my life over the course of my entire life, from early childhood until as much as a few years ago. And the car accident took the majority of that trauma away from me. I didn't have memories of it. I still don't have memories of a lot of it. And because of that, it enabled me to have relationships again with family members that were not in my best interest to have relationships with. And as my memory has, I won't say that that as it's returned, I would say that as situations with these family members have turned poorly again, those feelings and understandings of what life used to be like are what came back. And it mixed with the last marriage that I was in, really pulled me down mentally and emotionally. And when that does, it has a physical effect on the body. I had a lovely Thanksgiving. It's hard to tell that because I don't have a smile on my face at the moment. But I had a lovely visit with my younger sister. And that would not have happened if her eyes had not been opening as to what was happening within the family. And she finally got fed up with it and decided to stand up for me. For the first time in my life that I can remember. And that meant a lot to me. And it still does. My older siblings were from my father's first marriage, and 2 of them lived with us when I was little, and those 2 are 9 and 10 years older than me. They moved out of the house before I got big enough to understand what all this trauma was about, and were not a part of my life because they had been victimized too, and they had to go through their own healing process, so they were not available to me. And I didn't expect my younger siblings to be available to me because they were younger. They didn't understand when they were little, so I didn't expect it. But when they got older, I wanted them to see and understand, but unfortunately, they had been affected by the situation enough that they really could not see what was going on, especially since I hid a lot from them. I took a lot of stuff on myself to keep them from having to experience it. So they didn't really see it. So it took a long time for my younger sister to see it. And so 2022 was the year that she apologized to me and wanted to come for Thanksgiving, and I gladly accepted her. But during the visit, she said something that has affected me ever since. And no, it's not a negative thing on her end. No, I'm not upset with her for saying this. I'm actually very grateful to her for saying this, because it helped open my eyes. She said that I had been bullied worse than I knew by my family, to the point that it makes her cry for me. And that she sees it now. And I'd never heard it put that way before. And I had to stop and think how much more she saw than my family was doing behind my back than what I saw they were doing. And it was making her cry for me, and I wasn't feeling anything. So these tears are because it breaks my heart that my sister's heart is broken for me. These tears are the realization that things were actually so much worse than what I thought. And I knew it was pretty bad. I won't say that I was 100% denied help when I needed it over the years. There was some help. I can count on one hand the few times that I was helped by a family member. I think 3 times that I can remember being helped by a family member that had it in their power to help me and chose not to. I knew I had been talked down to. I knew I had been discouraged from going to college. I don't know how my family thought that I was going to live and thrive in a life with no college degree. I was literally told, don't even try to go to college. My family didn't want me to go. And I look back, and I do remember being told. The one memory has returned where I was told, don't go to college. I know I was told multiple times, but there's one time in particular that memory has come back, has returned. I know without a shadow of a doubt, that it occurred. And I spent my time getting into relationships looking for that love, looking for that validation, looking for that approval that wasn't coming from my family, looking for that emotional support, looking for that encouragement to get up on my feet and get a college degree and move forward. And unfortunately, the relationships I got into were ones that supported me staying at home. I attempted to not have as many kids as I had. I attempted to space them out. My birth control failed. I got pregnant while taking birth control. Other birth control pills that were stronger would cause me to have reactions to them, and I nearly fell down the stairs holding an infant once because of the reaction. And that was when my doctors had enough and pulled me off of birth control pills. One husband had his way with me when I was asleep and did not use protection that night. And I ended up pregnant with another one from that one. I did my best, and after baby number 8, I had enough of trying to prevent pregnancies because it wasn't working for me to prevent them. And I had my tubes tied. And then 2 or 3 years later, I had a miscarriage. I didn't have another one after that. But I did have a miscarriage. I've had 5 miscarriages on top of my 8 births. I've been in counseling since I was 11 years old because of all of the things that have happened to me in my lifetime. And yes, I knew what was causing the pregnancies, but when you are married, when you are in a relationship, you cannot always say no. Like that night, I was so dead tired because I was taking care of 4 children during the day. One was a couple of months old, and one was actually that particular night, there were 2 children, a 4-year-old and a 2-month-old, and I was exhausted. I had just returned to work. I was nursing, and I was exhausted. And him and his brother are 12 months apart. When you're in a relationship, you're not always able to say no. And what was I going to do? Sue my husband for that? The damage was already done. So anyway, back to the story with my sister with Thanksgiving. Since that time, I have spent some time learning about narcissism and what it is. And because my sister is convinced that our mother is a narcissist, even though she is not a diagnosed narcissist, my sister believes that she is. And so I've been spending my time learning about narcissism. And when I woke up this morning, like always, I pick up my phone a little bit, because I'm still trying to wake up. And I came across a short clip. And this comes from a TikTok. The user is Healing Out Loud. And it says, when you expose a narcissist, they become passive aggressive, and their retaliation is almost always manipulative. They are going to fight you behind the scenes in a way that protects their image. And for example, they will set you up to look bad. They will antagonize you in a way that gets you to defend yourself. And it says, it is normal to feel overwhelmed when you unmask a covert narcissist, but an emotional reaction, especially a public one, will only make you look bad. And when I heard that they will do this behind the scenes, I was once again taken back and reminded of what my sister had told me, that I had been bullied so much in such a way that I had no idea what had been happening and what was going on behind the scenes. And that is what has happened in my family, and I've seen it time and time again. Only the memories are blurred. I don't have all my memories. I have maybe 20% of my pre-accident memories. But I know what things have happened. I don't remember it all. But the things that are significant, I remember since my accident. Anything other than that, I don't. There's a lot of, things I don't remember because I spend my energy trying to remember the things that are important to remember. So I don't remember the rest of the stuff. And then the other TikTok that came to me this morning that I really resonated with came from Odin's Wolf. And it says, trauma that narcissistic abuse causes is not something a lot of people talk about. When you're chronically exposed to narcissistic abuse, your nervous system has learned to stay in fight or flight mode or survival mode, meaning you're highly anxious all the time. You're hypervigilant, you hear every single sound, and you're very sensitive to people's energies and different things like that in your environment. When you heal, a humongous part of it is teaching your nervous system how to shut down, regulate into a calmer state of rest and digest system. Literally, you have to relearn how to feel safe in your own body. And you're doing this, you're going to feel exhausted, you're going to need more naps, you're going to need more rest, because your body is not just running on stress hormones anymore. And the reason that resonated with me is because I had that procedure last week. I had a hard time snapping back from it. But once I snapped back from that and I was fine to move forward, I started having a really hard time with my schedule. I had a schedule. I had been working my schedule. I do better with a schedule because I'm not moping around. I'm getting myself involved in things, and I'm keeping my mind busy and active so that I'm not focused on these traumas and staying in this fight or flight mode. I'm doing what I can to relieve this stress and to thrive in a life in which I have survived my whole life. And so that last TikTok I just read about, you're going to feel exhausted. Here's an example of what that's like. Trying to de-stress and deregulate the nervous system. Once the reality set in that this was so much worse than I thought it was. In the last week, mind you, normal for me is sleeping 7 to 8 hours a week. I'm not hours a week. Normal for me is sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night. And I feel refreshed in the morning when I get up. But in this past week, 5 out of the 7 days, I slept 9 hours one night, 9 hours the next night, 11 and a half hours the next night, 13 and a half hours the next night, and 9 hours the next night. I have been exhausted. I've been running on fumes. I have self-isolated. I stay in my office during the day, sitting in my seat, trying to just calm my nervous system, trying not to get overstimulated, and chilling and relaxing during the day. And then come evening, I realize, oh, I haven't done anything. Oh, I have an appointment on my schedule for this evening. I'm taking a class on Tuesday nights. And I'm involved in a property owners association. And so I attended that meeting Wednesday night. And then Thursday night, I went to a writers group. And last night I was supposed to go somewhere. I was supposed to go to a worship service. I go on Friday nights. And I skipped out because 4 nights in a row of getting out and doing things, I was too tired to go. I could not get myself up and going last night to go to the worship service that I had been looking forward to all week and been wanting to go. I didn't go. And last night was a night that I slept 9 hours. 9 hours, 8 hours. I had a lot of trouble going to sleep last night. I didn't go to sleep till about 2 a.m. And then I wasn't off the bed till about 9, so maybe 7 hours last night. And I thought, I've got to get my worthy words done. I've got to talk about what it's like to go from surviving to thriving. Because I was thriving for a while. And I got knocked down. And why? What happened this week? What happened this week? I'll tell you what happened this week. The undiagnosed narcissist. And I say it that way because that information on that TikTok says that they will fight you behind the scenes. Using that. And because I'm not somebody that can diagnose, and it wouldn't be ethical to diagnose my family member anyway, even if I did have that under my belt. I'm not, I cannot diagnose this. I think that comes from a place of anger, a place of disbelief, and just trying to accept what is. But this particular person in my life, who has caused this harm, and has done so even recently, denies doing it. And I'm not looking for, I'm actually not looking for an apology. But I was looking to confront and yet this TikTok by Healing Out Loud starts off with, when you expose a narcissist, they become passive aggressive and their retaliation is almost always manipulative, and they are going to fight you behind the scenes in a way that protects their image. And that's been my entire life, dealing with this person. And this person is now going through health issues and has requested to see me. And I have been in turmoil because I've never refused helping this person in the past when it was in my power to do so. I was always there. I was the dutiful child to this person. And yes, this is one of my parents. And I cannot do that anymore. And everything within me, all the training I've had over the years that said children are to obey their parents, and I was taught that, and then I taught that to my own children. And while children should mind their parents in general, because parents are looking out for their kids. Hey, don't touch that stove, it's hot. You know, parents need to protect their kids from things that are harmful when they are not old enough to understand. You've got to find a way to get them to mind and to listen. But I think that the training I had took it overboard. And then when my children were little, I took it overboard. I am so thankful that I walked away from that particular belief system that I had back in my 20s. And I spent time learning new things, learning new ways, trying to change. Wasn't always perfect at it. Nope. Made mistakes. And each one of my children were different and required a different parenting technique. It was not easy. It was not easy to overcome old teaching habits from the way I was raised and what I was taught, and change it into something different. But I didn't give up. I didn't stop trying to change. And I am not the same person now, especially because of the accident. The accident took a lot of that away. And the accident, because I didn't have those memories initially, and I still don't have the majority of those memories initially. I just have enough to know that that's what happened. The accident removed that stuff. And I had to relearn parenting skills all over again. And that wasn't easy either. I not only had to relearn parenting skills, I had to relearn vocabulary. I had to relearn math. I had to relearn how to cook. I had to relearn everything. And I didn't know how to parent. But once again, I didn't give up. I didn't stop trying. And facing these things, facing this family dynamic that got shoved in my face recently, I'm still working at it. I'm still trying. And unfortunately, there are people in my life that are of the belief system that once a person is the way they are, they can't change. And that is not true. If you don't believe me, show up to any Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. You will have people there of all ages working to quit drinking. Some of them have succeeded. Some of them are in the process of succeeding. And they are of all different ages. We can change. We can grow. We can be a different person than who we used to be. Oh, once a drug addict, always a drug addict. No, not true. I do know drug addicts that have quit using drugs. No, I was not one of those. I've not misused drugs of any kind. And I have not misused alcohol either. But I do have family members that struggle with this. I do have a family member that has succeeded. I had a family member that has passed away that succeeded. I do know that success happens. And as success can happen for an alcoholic or a drug abuser, success can happen for somebody that has been taught wrong. And it's hard. It takes time. But it happens. Always provide encouragement to somebody trying to change. And instead of pointing fingers and saying, you did this, you did that, say, help me understand what was going on. Why did that happen? Well, this is what I was dealing with. This is what I was facing. And I didn't make the right decision. I didn't. But at the time, I thought it was the best decision that I could make. That's honesty. And if you cannot accept an honest answer, don't ask, don't blame, don't point your finger, because that person is doing everything that they can to make their life better. And if you're not going to be a part of their success, you need to get out of the way instead of making things worse. And I've been dealing with this with a lot of people in my family because they've been listening to this one person that that has been fighting me behind the scenes in a way that protects the image of this one person. Surviving. What does it mean to me? Going back to dictionary.com. Surviving. To remain alive after the death of someone. Internally, I was dead. Especially after the car accident. There was no knowledge there. I was, in a sense, a walking zombie. I didn't know anything. And I remained alive. Even after my own death, my own internal death. The death of the memories. And when I was going through all the traumas that I was going through growing up, I died inside. I died because of the things that were happening. To remain alive after the death of someone, the cessation of something, or the occurrence of some event, continued to live. And yes, I continued to live. I fed my body. I made sure I ate. I found a way to have a roof over my head, even with getting into a relationship to do so. I should I have done it? I look back, and what I remember of the relationships now is that relationships are a two-way street. Relationships involve two people. And I gave the relationship my all. Yes, my ulterior motive was to have a roof over my head. But I also gave that relationship my all to make that relationship work. And the other party in multiple relationships, not all of my relationships, I have had successful relationships, but in certain ones that I am thinking about right now, if they had given their all into making the relationship work, I think the relationships would have survived. But having gone through what I've been through in my life, I would get to a point where I could not continue taking it anymore. And I'd leave, and then I'd have to find another situation. And what about housing? Housing where I was living at the time had waiting lists, and I couldn't get in. I did end up one of those times in emergency housing, and did end up in housing one of those times, yes. And that was a time when I wasn't attempting to get into a relationship because there was housing had opened up at that point for me. Surviving. To remain or continue to exist or use what? I don't know. To remain or continue to exist, which I did. To get along or remain healthy, happy, and unaffected in spite of some occurrence. No, I didn't do that. Surviving. To continue to live or exist after the death, sensation, or occurrence of. To endure or live through an affliction, adversity, misery, etc. And to thrive, or thriving, is prospering or doing well, highly successful, growing or developing vigorously, and flourishing. And I was thriving when I was married to my late husband. was shortly after my accident, but he encouraged me. He helped me. He took care of me. He took care of my kids. He provided wisdom. He helped me learn better parenting skills. He encouraged me to go to college. And he passed away. And I went into shock because I wasn't expecting it. But during those years I was married to him, I was thriving. And I've picked up the pieces since then. And every time I'd start to thrive, my most recent ex, I don't think, looking back, I'm not certain that everything he did was done on purpose. I think some of the things he did were done without him realizing the kind of effect that it would have on me. But because of everything I had been through, it had had a negative effect on me. I do think that some of the things he did, he did without thinking, and but there too, I couldn't take any more, and I did leave. I did walk out of there. I didn't want to walk out of the relationship. I would have rather found a way to overcome what was going on. And then after I left, I kept giving him opportunities to work on things. And that last time I finally said to him, I said, I said the way I see things, you can either work with me to reconcile, work with me to separate things, or let the courts decide. Your choice, but I'm done fighting with you. And he finally decided he was going to work with me. So that ended that argument that night. And I said, well, are you going to work with me to reconcile things, or are you going to work with me to separate things? And he didn't know. And 2 weeks later, he told me he was going to work with me to separate everything. We cannot, nobody can, work on a relationship if the other party is not willing to work at it. He had his own demons, and I have my own. And we're friends now. He helps me, and I help him. We're not in a relationship. We don't live together. But I do not have anybody that I can rely on. My younger sister has health problems worse than my own. Not that mine aren't bad. But thriving, prospering, doing things to be successful, making myself get up and go to these meetings. And so for an hour or 2 or 3 or however long these meetings last, I'm not thinking about what has transpired. And yeah, it's been eating me alive. Trying to decide what is the best thing for me to do. And the best thing for me to do is to not go visit this person. I cannot see anything good coming out of it. I think the only reason I would go is because this person wants me to go and see me again one last time. And why? Why should I go? and learning to cut myself off from my parent when it has been ingrained in me since childhood to be there for my parent as they age. It does not put me in a position to thrive. It puts me in a position again to survive. And if my sleep patterns in the last week have been an indication, and yes, I have been self-isolating. I have been that one. I have been teaching my nervous system how to shift down, how to deregulate to a calmer state of rest, relearning how to feel safe in my own environment. And right now, my own environment is my room, my office, and my room. And I've been feeling exhausted. And I've been sleeping more. Because I've been teaching myself how to not be stressed out by this request to go that I'm in turmoil over. And the funny thing is, I've accepted the fact that I will never see this person again. I haven't seen this person in many, many years. And the last time I saw this person, I knew it was going to be the last time I was going to see that person. I wasn't in a position to see this person again. And I will not regret not seeing this person. To me, the only thing that's going to change my mind is if this person just decides to verbally tell me things that they should have told me my entire life. And there is one thing I want done that will prove that this person has a change of heart before death. But it's not worth my time and my effort to go there to be dejected all over again. So I'm letting my younger sister handle it. And I've been struggling. So thriving is a very, very important worthy word. So, you've seen me throughout this whole video. I hope you put the increase the speed of the video because it's been hard for me to speak on this topic today. And so let's do the worthy words and see this transformation. See how this transforms. I have my water here. For those that are new here, I speak these words to the water because of Dr. Emoto, I think from Japan, who's done the water experiments and has found that positive words changes the shapes of the water molecules into positive, healthy ones, and then I drink the water for my body to help. And that's what I'm doing, is I'm doing worthy words for a year. And while I might not get 365 days in, I'm going to do this as often as I can this year. Abundance, accepted, acclaimed, accomplished, achieved, active, adaptable, admirable, admired, affluent, ahead of time, all things beautiful, amazing, animating, appealing, approved, assured, attractive, awake, awesome, awestruck, beaming, beautiful, believed, beloved, blessed, blessings, bountiful, brave, brilliant, called, calm, careful, caring, celebrated, certain, cheerful, cherished, cleansed, comedian, composed, content, courageous, creative, creator, dear, delighted, delightful, devoted, distinguished, divine, easy, ecstatic, elegant, encouraged, encouraging, endorsed, energy, engaging, essential, excellent, expectant, exponential, effective, efficient, empowered, energetic, insured, enthused, equitable, esteemed, ethical, experienced, expert, fabulous, faithful, fascinating, favorable, favored, flourishing, fond, fortunate, found, free, friendly, fulfilled, funny, gained, generous, genius, genuine, gleeful, glowing, good, graceful, great, growth, happy, harmonious, harmony, healed, healthy, heard, heartfelt, helped, helpful, honored, idea, igniting, imagination, immersed, impressive, income, increase, independent, informative, innovative, inspired, inspiring, instinctive, intellectual, intuitive, inventive, joyful, jubilant, knowing, known, kind, knowledgeable, laugh, legendary, light, lively, lovable, love, lucky, marvelous, meaningful, memory, merit, miracle, miraculous, motivated, motivating, moving, natural, nice, nourished, nurturing, open, opportunity, optimistic, overcomer, overjoyed, oxygen, paradise, peace, peaceful, perfect, physically fit, pleasant, plentiful, poised, popular, positive, possible, powerful, prepared, productive, progress, prominent, promise, prosperity, quality, quick, ready, reassured, reassuring, receiver, refined, refreshing, rejoice, relatable, relative, relaxed, reliable, remembered, remembering, repaired, resounding, rested, respected, restored, revived, rewarded, rewarding, right, safe, satisfied, secure, sensational, serene, shifting, skilled, skillful, soulful, sparkling, special, spirited, spiritual, star, stimulated, stimulating, stirring, strong, stunning, succeeded, successful, sunny, super, supported, surprising, terrific, thankful, thorough, thrilling, thriving, timely, tranquil, transformational, transformed, triumph, trusting, truthful, understanding, understood, upbeat, upright, valued, vibrant, victorious, victory, virtuous, vital, vitalizing, wanted, watched over, wealthy, welcomed, whole, wholesome, willing, wonderful, wondrous, worthy, wow, youthful, zealous. Amen. I am so thankful for these worthy words. Just speaking them helps change the mindset from being upset and surviving to going to a place of thriving. Now, I have not gotten to the place where it lasts all day long yet. But that is my hope. That is my goal of saying these words to myself every day this year. I am so thankful to go from surviving to thriving, even while reading the worthy words. I will get them up soon. I promise. I'm gonna work on it and get my website fixed up and get these worthy words on there. Here's to the worthy words. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for putting up with me. Remember to hit that like and subscribe buttons and leave me a comment.